Robert Draper writing in the New York Times that, obviously Mike Pence was not Donald Trump's first choice, right? Donald Trump lies as easily as he talks. And, repeatedly asserting that, he was my first pick all along. Yeah, right. And there's just a huge body of evidence that that is not the case. But whether it's the case or not, back in May, they tried to get John Kasich to be the VP. And this is what Robert Draper wrote in today's New York Times, or writes in today's New York Times. He says, one day this past May, Donald Trump's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., reached out to a senior advisor to John Kasich, Governor John Kasich of Ohio, who left the presidential race just a few weeks before. According to the Kasich advisor, who spoke only under the condition he not be named, Donald Jr. wanted to make him an offer. Did he have any interest in being the most powerful vice president in history? When Kasich's advisor asked how this would be the case, Donald Jr. explained that his father's vice president would be in charge of domestic and foreign policy. So then the Kasich guy says, well, what's Donald Trump going to do? And his son says, make America great again, was the casual reply, writes Robert Draper. So for those of you out there who might be thinking about voting for Donald Trump because you heard him talk about how all these trade deals are stupid and they suck, you're going to get Mike Pence making policy. Mike Pence, who worked for, voted for NAFTA, CAFTA, SHAFTA, you name it, and is a big proponent of the TPP. You're going to get Mike Pence's policies. This is interesting. I think this is Steve Bannon's piece. I just came across this. I've half read it now. He says, this reminds me of a story. He quotes the same story from the New York Times that I had marked up earlier. And he says, this reminds me of a story that went largely overlooked a few months ago. In May, Paul Manafort, Trump's campaign chairman, sat down with the Huffington Post's Howard Feinman for a lengthy interview. And this is what Manafort said to Howard Feinman. He said, Donald Trump needs an experienced person to do the part of the job he doesn't want to do. He sees himself more as chairman of the board than even the CEO, let alone the COO. In other words, he doesn't want to do the day-to-day governing work, right? In other words, Donald Trump is lazy and has no interest, actually, in policy. So, if you thought you were going to get somebody who was going to fight the TPP, forget it. You're going to get Mike Pence. If you thought when Donald Trump during one of the debates said, oh, yeah, those hedge fund guys, they're getting away with murder, and, my taxes could go up, we should tax the rich. If you thought you were going to tax the rich, you're going to get Mike Pence. He's cut taxes on the rich. It's been the mantra of his life. He's the official shill for the rich. If you thought, if Donald Trump during one of the debates, the issue of privatizing Social Security came up, and Trump said, no way, we're going to protect Social Security. Nobody's going to touch Social Security, or words to that effect. Well, if you thought that was true, forget it, because you're going to get Mike Pence, who wants to privatize Social Security. If you thought that you were, if you're thinking about voting for Donald Trump and you were thinking that you were going to vote for a guy who said that the Iraq War was the biggest policy blunder in the history of the United States, and that George W. Bush was one of the worst presidents, and the whole thing in Iraq was idiocy and stupid, if you think that you're voting for that, you're going to get Mike Pence, who not only supported and voted for the Iraq War, but was one of the major cheerleaders and propagandists for it. You go through the Republican platform, which is out there now, and there's a great little 50 excerpts piece of it over at Alternet by Steve Rosenfeld. And here's just a quick list from the Republican platform. This is what you're going to get, because Mike Pence is a Republican. Tax cuts for the rich, deregulate the banks, stop consumer protection, start repealing environmental laws, start shrinking unions and union labor, except for police unions, of course. No change in federal minimum wage. Cut government salaries and benefits. Appoint anti-abortion Supreme Court justices. Appoint anti-gay and anti-Obamacare justices. Legalize anti-LGBT discrimination. Make Christianity a national religion. Loosen campaign finance loopholes and dark money. Loosen gun controls nationwide. Pass an anti-abortion constitutional amendment. Allow states to shut down abortion clinics. Oppose stem cell scientific research. That's what you're going to get.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.